all, welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jimmy Qualls, and with us as always, our resident football expert, Adidas master himself, Tate Mathews. Tate, it's my favorite time of the year. Not only does high school football begin, college football begins as well. Let's look real quick across the former WCS Sports Conference stars that we had. I know I'm not going to get everybody, but these are the ones that stuck out this week. And we'll try to go throughout the season, try to get some type of spotlight on some of those guys.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd love, if they want to send you stats through Twitter, right? You'd love to have those updates, and we can try to mention them, right? Is that
absolutely
good? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Send them to me. We'll get them out for you. Tyrell Dotson, Texas A&M rolled 59-7. Was not a close game. He had 2 tackles. Don't expect that game, being that big of a spread that he had too much work to do there. Emmanuel Hall, probably a spotlight player of the week. 4 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Missouri Tigers.
That's big time. I'd say he's good enough. 2 guys I wish we hadn't let out of state.
I'm letting you go ahead and say that for me.
That's why that guy's not there anymore.
Well, that's true. Cole Mabry, that's pretty interesting to watch the Notre Dame-Michigan game, getting some time in there. Van Jefferson, another one. Just think now, I want you to think about this. Van Jefferson, Tyrell Dotson, Emmanuel Hall, Corey Fatone. What if all 4 of those guys were on the University of Tennessee's roster?
It'd be better.
4 catches, 34 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was the leading receiver for the Gators in their big win. Chris Rowland, great day for TSU as well. And Corey Fatone averaging only 41 yards per punt right now. Longest is 49.
Corey will
flipping the yield.
Corey's going to have a chance to play on Sundays.
Well, those guys, once again, we will try to hit everybody. Send me this stuff, tweet at me, let me know. We'll try to get you on the show or mention you on the show. We have so many good players across the country at every level. We try to keep up with those guys. So let us know. Week 3 now in the books. Man, we had some really good games. Let's start off Ravenwood at Franklin. First game on the turf for the Franklin Rebels. Once again, the comeback kids spoil the show as Ravenwood wins 24-20.
Big win against a very good Franklin team. I mentioned Saturday. I think Franklin might be the best 1 and 2 team in the state.
Speaking of that, they're ranked 20th right now.
Good. They should be because they're good. They've lost to Brentwood. They've lost to Ravenwood by combined, 7 points? And I'm telling you, those 2 teams are going to be right in the thick of it come the end of come playoff time. So had a chance. I guess that's the only, the positives of you had a chance to beat them. The negative is you for whatever reason, those 2 games against Brentwood and Ravenwood, they weren't able to close it. So, but really playing well. The defense is playing well. Offense is playing well. They've got a nice balance with Joshua Nichols at quarterback in the passing game. They've got a passing game now to go with that running game, and which they've had it since the beginning of the year. I mean, but here's what I think for people: is Ravenwood not as good as the preseason predictions? They're 3-0. All 3 of them are on the road. That's harder. That's easier said than done, right? All 3 of them are on the road. Now they get to come home this week, and I think this Ravenwood. I'm not worried about this Ravenwood team at all. If anything, I'm even more impressed because they very well could have laid down. They've had to fight back in all 3 games, and they've done that. And again, they're sitting there at 3-0, and even more importantly, they're 2-0 in the region. Something
that doesn't show up in the stats is they have that it factor. You watch this team play. You can go back. I like to make this comparison. If you remember, you go back 2 years ago, Coach Greg Glass and the team that he had at Independence in basketball. Who was their star player?
Grayson Murphy.
And every time they walked on the floor, they had that it factor. And the it factor was, I don't care what punch you throw at us, we're going to win this game, whether it's by 1, whether it's by 50. This team, and Coach Matt Daniels and his squad, has this it factor. You could tell they never get rattled. They got behind again. They're down 17-10, not playing their best game. And then at the very end, they get to ring that bell once again. But let me tell you something. It was not without a fight. Matt Gacka, 91 yards on the ground, 56 yards on 2 catches, 147 total yards. This kid is a playmaker.
Yeah,
a lot of people, I don't know, you better put him on your radar. He could be under the radar for some of these colleges, but this kid is a playmaker for the Rebels, and he's playing awfully well. You mentioned Nichols. Nichols, is 8 for 22, 106 yards. He missed a lot of little dink shots, if you will, close, maybe behind, a little timing routes off. I don't think it was the outcome in the game. If he can clean some of those up and keep that possession and those chains moving, that will make a difference. But Shane Craig, Andrew Mason, Shane Craig catches a huge late fourth quarter ball for a touchdown, go the distance. But let me tell you something. Brian Garcia, 14-20. Have you seen this kid play?
Yes.
He weighs about 150 pounds running around. But that dude is a competitor.
Yeah, heck yeah. He reminds me of Mizell at Page or Bill Whittemore. Bill Whittemore's taller at Brentwood. And anybody who knows me, that's about as good of a compliment as big as a compliment I can give anybody, man. If you play like Billy Whittemore, you're the real deal. And yeah, man, it doesn't matter what the size is. That he's a competitor. He's a winner. It factor. He's got it.
Yep. Shane Craig, 3 catches for 91 yards. Andrew Mason, first time I got to see a full game of him. This dude is legit.
Yes.
Andrew Mason he's got to be a D1 caliber receiver if you watch him play. Some of the plays he made, there was one particular catch in the first half on a little out route that he caught. Defense hanging on him, big time play, great catch. He's just a really good player, solid player with a lot of speed, breakout speed. Once he catches it and you miss the first tackle, it's going to be hard to get that second tackle on him. 7 catches for 100 yards as the Ravenwood Raptors once again end up winning 24-20.
Most importantly, Shane Craig with that touchdown pass. Now, you mentioned Mason. They've got Holmes. Shane Craig, first year playing football. Baseball kid, obviously, if that name sounds familiar, that's because he is Coach Teddy Craig, Mr. May. Maybe we got a Mr. August now, right? That was August 31st. So first year out, man. He's an athlete. That was a big – and, again, that's the thing you see, man. You got kids who are good baseball players, right? Shane Craig, he's been to those
premier camps
and things like that. He's coming out to be a part of this. That says a lot about the culture, what's going on in that locker room. And he comes out and makes a big play. That was great. I know Daddy was very, very proud.
Multi-sport athletes, people wanting to get involved.
Be a part, man.
You've got the bullseye every game. You're getting everybody's best haymaker. You're 3-0.
3-0.
I mean, what does that tell you? Right now, more importantly, you're 2-0 in Region 6A play. Hey, you're pretty much right there, almost guaranteed in. Almost guaranteed in.
No,
2 wins in Region 6.
Everybody else has a loss.
Are you kidding me?
At least one.
I mean, it's – and the interesting part is the only left undefeated WCS Sports Conference team is who?
Page.
And they play this week. We'll get to that later. Centennial Independence. There was a little bit of offense in this game as they exploded for 102 points combined as Centennial in a shocker. I don't think anybody saw this one coming. Winner 62-40 over Independence. I mean, there's not any doubt. We knew it. We've always known it. We sing his praises. Jariel Wilson is an unbelievable player. We would like to think this kid's a big-time collegiate player. Right now he's committed to Austin Peay. A lot of people are like, why, including your boy Paul Priest on this play of the week clip, is even question the fact that, no offense to Austin Peay. I mean, come on, Coach Priest, but go Govs. I can't disagree with him. Austin Peay, I'm obviously a little bit of a homer on those guys, and I'm glad that he's going there because I think he will thrive there. Do you disagree with that?
No, I think they're getting a heck of a player, and Captain Positivity will find a way to get him the ball and make a lot of use of him. Now, here's what I think. Right now, the way he's playing, I think they're going to have a hard time keeping hold of him. Because
absolutely, that's the point.
Yeah.
So what did he do? 276 yards on the ground on 23 attempts. That's not including everything else that the stat line don't even show.
Right. 4 touchdowns, okay? And then, on return game, they kicked in the end zone every time, which is a heck of a weapon because he can take it back too. So 276 rushing yards. He's done it every single week. We don't need to be putting out bests right now. It's too early and there's too many good ones. But nobody's playing any better than Jariel Wilson anywhere.
So
in the state of Tennessee.
The first rip of the week goes to the defensive stats of the Centennial Independence game because over 700 yards were racked up. Yeah. But speaking of Jariel, why do we stop talking about it? Let's show them. Play of the week right here, Jariel Wilson and Crouch for the touchdowns.
So 6:49 to go in the ball game. 2nd down and 6. Here's Centennial. Again, Wilson sneaking through traffic. Finds some daylight.
Oh, my. Here we go.
Down the left sideline, Jariel Wilson. 73 yards. And that, my friends, is probably your play of the night.
Somebody give Jeriel Wilson a holler if you're a big-time D1. No disrespect to Austin Peay, but, man, this kid's got all the tools to do whatever he wants because, second level, see you later. Thanks
Turns
for
on
playing.
the Jets,
Yeah.
nothing but green in front of him. He's had an unbelievable night, has Jeriel Wilson for Centennial High School.
Wow.
So Centennial second down and about 8 right here. They swing it inside. This is to
nice.
number 10. This is to Johnny Crouch.
Oh, my, he's got a wall.
Crouch with some daylight.
One man to beat. Will he get a block?
Johnny Crouch, he will go all the way. Johnny Crouch, who has been kicking
Yeah, I was
all
going to
night
say,
long.
he's going to have to come out and kick the extra point.
He's got to come out and kick the extra point. So he's in the end zone after a
73-yarder.
73-yard touchdown run.
Looks like a little slip screen right here to Crouch. Good block. Once he gets to the outside here, he's got about 3 Cougars right there leading the way.
Great block by Sam Holloway there, number 50.
And we got to, you got to call it like this. He may be a wide receiver, but look at that kicker go.
Johnny Crouch, another one of those players, blue-collar player, if you will. But here's what stands out to me. I'm going to give these old boys some shout-outs, some FaceTime right
There you
now.
go.
Number 52, Jacob Spears, offensive lineman, sprinting, beating a lot of the players down the field,
Yes.
looking for that next block. 53, Trevor Anderson. 50, Sam Holloway. 75, Cameron Caruso. And 80, DeMarcus McLemore. All had huge blocks on that little slip screen pass to Johnny Crouch. Now, Jeriel, he needs some blocking too, but he don't need much because once you get past that first level of defense, it's over.
He's got it, man. He is. That's as nice of a run. Really, he did, and that's what we talk about all the time. But he did all they had to do was get him to the second level, and he did the rest. That's exactly what he did, and that's why it's so important. That guy's a playmaker. And then on Johnny Crouch, you know what else Johnny Crouch does? He's the kicker.
He had to get his breath after that run.
Yeah, so he had to
kick,
line up
yeah.
and kick that thing. I'm pretty sure he made it. So, and you mentioned we need to look it up, but number 80, downfield blocking. You mentioned all those linemen.
Yep.
DeMarcus McLemore.
Yes.
Go back and watch that. Downfield blocking.
Boom.
That's what it was all about, man. Very, very cool. There's so many good things that came out of it. We haven't even talked about Independence yet.
Yeah, for real.
But 102 points. Think about that now. We're talking 6A football, 102 points.
Grayson Marcel, 395 yards on 22 of 31 attempts. That's great for him. I think that's that confidence booster he needs. But my stat of the week.
He had 4 touchdowns, too. He's playing outstanding.
My stat of the week. What have I told you? What have I told everybody about what Centennial had to have in order to have a little bit of success? There was one player that had to be involved. Would you like to go ahead and remind me? Mr. Producer, find that tape. Who is it?
Hainsworth.
Ashari Hainsworth, 11 catches, 270 yards, big touchdown late to make this thing blow it wide open, one-handed catches. This dude's body, he's too big, he's too athletic. Look for him to improve on that. But what a career night that is.
Yeah.
210 yards in your first first game of really being involved on 11 catches. That's what these other guys, once they get involved, once you get Jeriel out there, they're going to start drawing that defense. Then you've got to have somebody else add to that party.
No doubt about it. And he's a mismatch problem. And I know you did. For those that didn't, I mean, you saw some of the highlights. Those were some of those catches. That's what we're talking about. He's going up and getting it, and he's got a smaller, shorter, lighter cornerback trying to defend him. And now that he's learning how to use his body, it's kind of like rebounding, right? Which he was a good rebounder. Usually those guys, he knows how to use his body. And now he's going up and getting that ball. That's a mismatch problem. And you can't lose fact of Grayson Marcel putting it where it needs to be. I mean, that's easier said than done too, especially for a high school guy. But that guy, we talk about all the stats and everything. Marcel, I mean, he's had at least one 70-yard pass play in I think every single game that they played in. He's playing outstanding.
Well, he had over 300 yards, but you know what? Look on the other side of the ball. Nathan Cisco, 403 total yards on 23 of 39 attempts, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now, look, you look at T.J. Sheffield, Jeriel Wilson. I don't know that we have a more electrifying duo going at it right there between those two. Sheffield.
Can you imagine if they were on the same team?
Oh, my goodness. Sheffield, what did he do for the evening? He only had 294 yards and 4 touchdowns all over the field on kickoff returns, catches, wildcat, you name it. He did it all. This dude is super special, obviously, going to Purdue. Isaiah Collier, 9 catches, 158. I mean, if you ever want to go to a night where there was no defense and a lot of electrifying plays, this is it. However, they had just enough stops to win this ball game because it was close, nip and tuck, all the way 42-48, back and forth, and then boom, they just blew it wide open, 40-48, and then they blew it open with 2 late touchdowns to seal the deal, 62-40.
No doubt, and you can't put for a lot of different reasons, but you can't put a price tag on how important this win was for Centennial. They were staring 0-3 in the eye.
And 0-2 in the region.
They were staring 0-2 in the region. And as we know, it came down to them in Franklin last year. And it was a very close game. And obviously Franklin's better. This was a big win for them. And
if
against what I think, we'll sit back and see. Don't get all too worried about it. Indy's going to win some ball games this year.
If Franklin would have won and beat Ravenwood, you're looking at a 4-way tie.
That's right.
This thing is wide open. I'm telling you, we kind of had it. Everybody's looking. Centennial dead in the water. I don't look very good. Odd man looking out, and then all of a sudden they explode for 500 yards of offense. They put 62 up on the board and beat an Independence team.
That's right.
And now they're right back in the mix because Independence is going to pick off one of them other two.
Well, and
they'll have a good chance of it.
Think about they are a play or two away from being 2-0 in the region because they beat Ravenwood.
Yep. Let's move on. Brentwood, 56-7. Not a whole lot to talk here. I mean, Dixon came in 2-0. Everybody's like, oh, they're pretty good. They beat Creekwood and Hickman County or somebody or whoever else. Not Hickman.
Columbia,
Columbia Central.
And Creekwood.
Which is their in-county foe.
Yeah.
Coach Murphy does a great job at Dixon.
Yes, he's doing a good job.
They were thinking this could be maybe the year. You can't take anybody lightly. You can't. They could hang 600 yards and then go in and play Dixon and fall asleep, and all of a sudden you get beat and you're out of it. But, I don't think that's going to happen. Brentwood, 56 points, cruised, Popcorn City, ran the race on them.
Here's what I love the most about it. We talk about it every week. There's about 4, 5, 6 playmakers on that offense. And every week, they're all involved. They're all involved in some form or fashion, right? I mean, they're spreading that ball around. They're all making plays. Bishop led the way receiving, but Avery Williams made some plays. McKechnie made plays. Jordan Nicholas, Granzow's getting better as a quarterback. That's a little scary, man, because I think this might be the best offensive skill group that Coach Crawford's had. Problem is we got a sophomore quarterback. Well, he's getting better every week. I think they're going to be pretty dang potent come the end of the year. They're already potent. I mean, we know Dixon County is better this year. They put up 56 points against them? Well, we know he pulled the guys, right? So it could have been more. They must have played really well.
They did. Page 20, Franklin County 12. Page, once again, is sitting for the second year in a row, Tate, 3-0 going into week 4.
Hey, let me tell you something. I think it's great. I'm excited for him, and I'm excited for Coach Rathbone. I'm excited for his kids, but I'm excited about him. He's not the loudest guy. He's never going to be the loudest guy in the room, right? But the guy can flat coach football, and they've battled injuries years in the past, and I'm just really happy to see this. I hope they can stay healthy because they're playing really well right now, and Franklin County's got a really good offense. They watched their scores through the year.
Yeah, they came in undefeated as well, right?
That's right.
And everybody was thinking,
and putting up big yardage.
Matter of fact, all the pundits had Franklin County as the favorite coming in. Obviously, they didn't know what they were talking about.
Exactly.
But,
and to hold them to 12 points, that I'm telling you, they can score points. That's right.
And a wing T, which is interesting because Page and Summit will play before the year's out.
That's right.
In the region, right? So the wing T.
Well, that was a region game.
It was from the master wing T himself at Franklin County. To really stifle.
The guru.
To stifle that defense, stifle that offense. Cade Walker, 20 of 27 for 222 total yards. Michael Burdick seemed like like a broken record. 9 catches, 70 yards. Miles Bond, 5 catches, 71 yards. As the top 2 targets for the Page. Patriots, Michael Burdick obviously had a couple of defensive stops in the backfield and as a DB for them as well, a couple of tackles. Page just quietly going about business.
3-0. You mentioned it. There's 2 undefeated teams in WCS Sports Conference. They're one of them.
Speaking of gurus of the wing tee, Summit, Old Sparty, 48, White County 0. This game got started off late due to the fact of some I-40 being shut down and White County getting there late. And it looks of it, they should have just turned around and went back and just saved themselves some time. But I'm telling you, this team right here is growing and getting better. I'm going to go on record right now, and I'm going to say this. I've said this all along. Even without Ty Carter, I really think that this team is better than last year's team.
It might be. I mean, they are in some spots. You know, can you imagine if he was back, having him and Gio, you know, in the same backfield this year with this line? But, yeah, I mean, you know, the good and the bad is the guys like him don't get to play a whole lot in a game like this. The good is you got a lot of guys that get to play, get some more experience. And Trey Hunter, you know, you look at what he did. He had 110 yards. Do you know how many carries that was on? 4. It just ceases. It never ceases to amaze me. Everybody knows they're going to run the ball, and they still run the ball.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, Gio, you talked about him. He only had 5 attempts, I think, on 84 yards, right? Is that what you said?
I didn't, but yes.
That was the other guy, Trey Hunter. But
Trey Hunter was
Gio only had 5 attempts
4,
himself. Right? And then he had 66 catching. You know, 150 yards just another night, you know, walking apart for Odomegwu. And I think the storyline here is we keep saying this as well. Freshman quarterback Destin Wade, you know, this kid continues to get better and better. We start doing the old quarterback option rollout, start, you know, doing the read stuff on that. If the defense sucks in on you, you can throw the little dunk pass.
The most important question is, can he throw the wheel route?
Can he throw the wheel route? Absolutely. All we got to do is keep throwing those bubble screens, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So when they suck up,
Pretty
boom,
good.
we're gone, wheel, big time. But if he keeps bootlegging out and having an option of either keeping it or then when the defense comes throwing it right over, which he did effectively the other night, I mean, these guys can be really, really dangerous.
No doubt. I mean, he's a freshman, but by come playoff time, he won't be a freshman anymore. And he doesn't look like a freshman. When you see him, it's hard to believe he's a freshman. He's not your normal freshman.
And you get the workhorse out there, Christian Jolly.
That's right.
He can catch the ball. He can make some yardage. He can make some things happen. Old Sparty rather. They're looking awfully good right now, even though they're sitting at 2-1. Only loss coming from Independence. You know, if that game comes later in the season, I sure would like to see that game again. But sitting at 2-1. Nolensville 41, Spring Hill 6. Was this surprising to you?
Not the win, the score. Yeah, I'm surprised they beat them that bad. Aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. I was expecting a win. I really was, but I thought it would be a hard-fought one. Come down, you know, 41-6. You know, how easy could Nolensville be? You were talking about somebody else earlier. How easy could Nolensville be sitting at 3-0 right now?
Well, they're 4 points away from. It's kind of the same story with Centennial on Ravenwood. They were up at the half. They just, for whatever reason, that second half they couldn't get it going offensively. If it was just one more stop in that second half, they'd be 3-0 too. But yeah, they're playing really well. That was, you know, you look at. To kind of put it into perspective, it's not the same deal, but you know, Summit struggled with Spring Hill, and Nolensville beats them 41-6. Oh yeah, with a guy that didn't start at quarterback at the beginning. Glardy is playing well, man.
Playing really good. Right now, Colton Dooley, 12 rushes for 32 yards, which is unseasonably low for him. However, on the year, 386 total yards. He's got 10 touchdowns in 3 games. It's pretty stout for him right there. So. This Nolensville Summit game, I believe, on this slate of games could be one of the best ones of the night. So
it's going to be fun.
Yep, Fairview 49, Stewart County 13. Just another walking apart for the Jackets as Nardozzi, 105 yards. Harris Lusk got 108 yards rushing. You know, the Jackets on that level right now, on the 3A level, man, they're really strong.
Without a doubt. And the thing I like, you mentioned Nardozzi, Logan Nardozzi at over 100 yards again. I think he's been over 100 yards rushing every game. And you look at the last 2, he's not playing the whole game. So, you know you've got a quarterback in Brock Harris. You know you've got a playmaker outside in Cam Harris Lusk. And as you can see, we got a nice running back behind what Coach Hughes says is his best offensive line in years.
Yeah.
Which that's nice because come playoff time, you need to, you know, there's been times when they haven't been able to do both. They can do both this year.
WCS Sports Conference goes 5-0 out of non-conference games. That's pretty stout. That's the first time this year we've done that, gone undefeated in non-conference games. So what does that have? Week 4, let's look at the slate of games, Tate. Starting off with Page, the undefeateds. Page at Ravenwood. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think it's going to be a great environment. Page can get right down the road. I think they're playing really well. Cade Walker, I think, can play anywhere in this conference. At quarterback, there's a lot of good ones. It's going to be an exciting game. Again, I'm not one that's down on Ravenwood. I think they've won 3 tough games. They're at home. This is going to be a tough game for the Patriots to win.
It's going to be a tough game. The pundits have them a 17-point underdog right now. If you look at that in the radar of things, one thing that we haven't mentioned: Akers. David Akers' son is the kicker. The other night hit a 40-plus yard field goal. That's a weapon that you haven't seen.
That's right.
Speaking of that, who started for MTSU this weekend against Vandy, who did the kicking duties? Cruz Holt.
Cruz Holt.
That's right.
How'd he do?
Redwood team. He did well.
Awesome. I know his daddy, Alan, is very
happy. So, who do you have in this game?
Ravenwood.
I have to agree. I think the size, the depth just wears Patriots down. I think Michael Burdick is going to be still a factor in this game that they'll have to pay attention to, but I think at the end, Ravenwood will win this game. Brentwood, 2-1 at Stewart's Creek, 2-1. Thoughts?
It was Labor Day weekend last week, and I went up to the lake. And, one of my favorite things to do is ride on a boat. This game kind of reminds me of being at the lake. This is a boat race.
Boat racing. Could it be Popcorn City?
Take your hat and your visor off because it's getting ready to blow off.
Pundits have the Bruins at a 20-point favorite. That's a lot of points given up there, but I think they'll score more than that. Franklin McGavick, we got to hurry. We're running out of time. Who do you have?
Franktown.
Frank wins this. Hey, the pundits have this one as the largest of the week.
Not a lot of respect for the McGavick Raiders.
Not a lot. I think Franklin rolls in this one as well.
They roll.
Centennial at Cane Ridge. That's a tough matchup to turn around and have to play. Hey, I'm telling you right now, put this one on your radar.
Upset alert.
Upset alert city. Jariel Wilson right now.
Are you going to pick them?
Cane Ridge. I'm picking them. You're going to pick Cane Ridge because you're going to drink the Kool-Aid. Cougars, Coach Kreisky, right. I'm just telling you. Right now, the pundits have them at a 16-point underdog. I'll take that all day.
No.
Yep.
But they do win.
Independence versus Hillsboro.
Man, this is tough.
Bounce back game for the Eagles.
I'm gonna go with Hillsboro. I think Indy took some lumps. I think they're gonna be okay, but I think they took some lumps in that game.
Who are you taking this game?
I'm taking Hillsboro.
Oh man, 13-point favorites as the Eagles. I don't know if they cover that. I think it's a close one. I think the Eagles bounce back though. Cisco, Sheffield and Company, great athletes all over that field.
No doubt.
None better than Sheffield though. Nolensville Summit. This game of the week. If you're playing 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon, you look at that Spring Hill game, but you got to remember, 12-6.
They don't even know who that is.
In a waterlogged Tsunami.
I'm gonna go with Summit because they're at home, but this one's tough. Tough.
Old Sparty. I love Nolensville.
Nolensville's a third-year program. That's the difference.
I love them. I just think that the Summit at home. I'm going to take the Spartans. And Fairview at Waverly. That's a good game on the lower level.
This is a good game. But I think Fairview beats them. It's going to be a lot of points, but Fairview beats them.
Well, Jackets roll Waverly. Waverly beat them last year 50-49. Not this year.
This year.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on WCS Sports Connection.